Sometimes forex trading is a wild and woolly place to be. That's why Hugh's here, to pose your questions to Walter, the naked forex guy. Hugh's got questions, and Walter's got the answers. Here at the Truth About FX podcast.
What's up, Walter? How's it going, man?
Pretty good. How about you, Hugh? What's going on in your life?
Oh, pretty good. I'm doing this from Estonia right now, so it's kind of early in the morning, but
Brilliant.
It's all good.
Real early, yeah.
So, yeah, pretty early. So today's question is, what kind of things would you like to see in the future of FX? Be it software, regulations, education. What's on your mind right now?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I think what we've noticed, you've been around currency trading for a long time, and I've been watching the markets at least since 2000, and so you've probably noticed a lot of changes in terms of the way that different governments approach regulations and the different governing bodies or semi-regulatory bodies that have taken over currency trading. And in the Wild West days, and I consider the Wild West days up until 2005, or from 2000 to 2005, it's kind of like everyone was a broker, and it didn't take much to open up a brokerage, and there were a lot of dodgy stuff going on. There still is, I guess.
Yeah.
Then the next phase is the regulators come in and they clean it up, and at least in the U.S., I think it's kind of gone a little bit too far one way.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, in other places, in other countries, it's not as defined and regulated as it is in the U.S. And so a lot of those brokers, I know, they just left. They left the U.S. and they went to places like Hong Kong and London and Sydney and things like that because it just wasn't worth it to do business there. They regulated the business out of there. So we've kind of already seen that, but I guess what I would like to see from a sort of a selfish point of view for traders out there is I would like to see those people who are selling systems or education, I would like to see them pull back a little bit and instead of saying things like, this is the best system or anyone can make money at this or whatever, I'd like for them to say the truth, which is that we don't necessarily all see the markets in the same way. Just the same way that you might meet somebody and think, wow, you know right away you're going to be good friends with that person, right? And I might be the same person and go, God, she gets on my nerves, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of the same thing with trading systems, and we don't really recognize that. We and in the industry of trading education and trading systems, people who sell these things, they kind of make it sound like you can just open up this thing, take it out of the box, and use it, and it's just not. That's not true, because we end up trading our beliefs. So I think I'd like to see a little bit more transparency in terms of what it takes to trade a system long term. Like when I say long term, let's say you're trading a system for 7 to 20 years. That to me is a system that is good for your belief system. And so instead of telling people that anyone can do this and it's so easy and just wait for the green light for a buy and the red light for a sell or whatever, that stuff's kind of it's just not true, because people have to feel like they're in control, or at least most traders have to feel like they're in control. And so you got to allow the person to dictate at least how they interact with the market. So I guess that's one thing I would say, is that the transparency in the sales process for people who are looking for trading systems and looking for education, I think that would serve traders well. And it also, in the long term, it would also help the vendors who sell this stuff, because they wouldn't get as many refunds and they wouldn't have bad reviews if they allowed for different types of personalities and to come in and for you to basically take, like Hugh, you're a swing trader, right? So, here we've got some swing systems over here for you. Or, hey, Martin, you're a trend trader, so here's some trend trading systems over here. That's the kind of thing that I'd like to see, where you kind of match up your trading beliefs to your trading system. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What about you? What have you thought along those lines?
Yeah, along those lines, I think it's been the classic problem in not only trading education, but just education in general for anything. And I think that Yeah, there definitely needs to be a lot more transparency. I mean, especially if you, I don't know if you're on Instagram or whatever, but I'm on there once in a while, not necessarily for trading stuff, but I see traders on there and, they're portraying this fabulous lifestyle or whatever. And some of them are actually living that lifestyle, but there's these other people that I'm like, I don't know, I don't think it doesn't feel right to me. So yeah, definitely that marketing is a little dodgy. But one question that came up to me when you were talking was, okay, if I was somebody listening to this podcast for the first time and maybe I'm new to FX or trading in general, when you say transparency, what do you think about people who don't like publish their track records or whatever?
Right. Well, that's a good point. I mean, here's the thing you have to think about that. There's a couple of things here. One is, if you don't publish your track record, there could be a number of reasons. The one that comes up the most is going to be, he or she is hiding something, right? He or she doesn't make money, right? So that's the big one. But the second thing is, if you manage money, there can be some legal implications along those lines too. So that's something that people don't think about. Like, for example, let's say, Hugh, you're managing, $35 million, and you're trading your client's money. It's a little bit tricky for you to reveal that for a number of reasons. One of them would be you don't want to affect your market. So one of the things you have to look for when you start to build up your account is you have to look for a really good broker, okay, who's not going to reveal what you're doing and not going to, basically is going to give you the liquidity you want and also not going to sort of step on your toes or make it difficult for your system to continue to work, because that's the biggest thing that comes up with trading is scalability. But beyond that, I mean, talking about the track record, there's a couple reasons why they wouldn't do it. One is they're not making any money. Two is their lawyers have told them don't do it. and three is, and they will tell you that. And three is that you're a little bit concerned about someone backwards engineering it, or you kind of, and it's not really. I don't really think of it in terms of like, oh, if people figure out how I'm trading, it's going to ruin the market and the system won't work. It's more about your broker, right? So if you're not trading in the interbank market and you're still using like a retail forex broker or a bank or something like that, they can do a whole bunch of things that'll make it difficult for you. So if they can figure out what's going on, like let me give you an example. Let's say that you've got your $35 million fund and you've got you've got an account with the Bank of America, right? Now I'm at the trading desk at Bank of America, and so if I go, oh, here's Hugh, here's Hugh's group, they're gonna go long euro. It looks like at this price. Well, I could actually put some orders in front of yours, right? You know what I mean? Like I could do that, and that could really. It could do a lot of things. Because if I say, well, Hugh's right 79% of the time, I might as well piggyback on that. That could affect the market. I could get in just before your order gets triggered or whatever. All those kinds of things you have to kind of watch out for. So yeah. So there's a number of reasons why people wouldn't do that. I think another one that comes up, like I have a friend who he recently posted his trade results on his Facebook account, right? And the other thing that happens is all the trolls come out, and that's what happened to him. Like he pasted his results up there, and he thought it was pretty good because I think he was making like $1.85 for every dollar at risk. Okay, so he's at 1.8, and then he had around a 50% win rate, and his whole thing is like it doesn't really matter. He's kind of got a unique approach. Like he doesn't believe in analyzing a trade and deciding whether to take it or whatever. Basically, he just takes a whole bunch of trades, and he knows that a handful of them are going to work out, and they're going to be the big winners. Like that's basically how he trades, right? So it's kind of like a trend follower who takes every single breakout expecting it to be the next huge trend, right? He kind of does that. Not quite that, but kind of like that. But what happened to him was he thought it was pretty good. He had 51% win rate or whatever it was, and he was making 1.8, and then all these trolls come out and start telling him what he's doing wrong. Like, oh, well, you need to do this, and that's because your exit's all wrong, and you know what I mean? And like sometimes it's just not worth it. Like it's obviously it's just not worth it to get that. Like I get a lot of that too from people who go, hey, Walter, you don't trade enough, and how are you ever going to compound your money if you're trading the daily charts and things like that, which is funny. I mean, I just took a 4-hour chart last night, but which is, I don't always just trade the weekly and the dailies, but I think some people, even if they do make money, they're just like, you know what? They don't have anything to prove to anyone, and they don't, and it's not worth, all the trolls that come out. Like, you talk to famous people who are on Twitter, they get the same thing to an even greater extent. Like, they get all these trolls, who, even like semi-famous people, like they're not even like they're D-list celebrities. They'll get trolled on Twitter and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It's the thing is, like, you could post your results for like 4 years, every single trade, and people would still find a reason why you're an idiot trader. You know what I mean? Like, it's just people, you know what I mean? Like, just they want to pull you down. I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, you get to a certain point, and people, I think part of it is they feel like they should be doing better as a trader. Maybe they're not even making money, so it feels good to pull someone else down. Like pull them down to our level, and then now we can see eye to eye, or whatever. I think a lot of that's going on. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
there's definitely more going on there than you would think, because the gut reaction is, look, Trader Joe's not posting his trades, so obviously Trader Joe's a fraud. But like I said, there could be a little bit more going on there in terms of, is Trader Joe worried about his broker, stabbing him in the back? Does Trader Joe manage money, and his lawyers have said, don't do that? Is Trader Joe worried about the trolls that are going to come out and tell him how, he only made 30 pips on the euro that day and they made 150? You know what I mean? Like, all that stuff just works into it. So my whole thing is, it doesn't really help you anyway.
Yeah.
Because a couple of things. One, so what? Okay, Hugh, you post your results and you made 2,500 pips last month. So what? Does that mean that you're going to be able to teach that to me, right? And and so that's the other piece, is that people forget. They think that I want to go learn from that trader who made 12,000 pips last month, or 33% last month. Well, can he even explain that to me so that I can do that? And even if he can explain it, will it fit with my view? Like, am I going to match that up? You know what I mean? So that's another piece of it people forget. They forget that just because you're a good trader doesn't mean you can explain things. And anyone who's tried to have a conversation with like someone who's like a deep mathematics person knows what I'm talking about. Like a number nerd or whatever. So.
Yeah, now that reminds me of my high school soccer coaches. So, like, I had one coach who was he used to be in the Colombian national team. I think he played in the World Cup or something too. And I had another coach who didn't know how to play soccer at all, but he knew the strategy and everything, right? And the guy who was the World Cup player was like the worst coach, because he would get frustrated at you because you couldn't do a simple thing that he thought it was simple, right? But the other guy, he knew his strategy. He knew how to manage player personalities and stuff like that. And, we did better under that guy. So I think that's a perfect example of what you're talking about.
Yeah, and you know what? That fits with the research in psychology, where, you get to a certain level of expertise, and it's really hard for you to access. It's really hard for you to know what you're doing, because it's so mechanical. And that's probably what your soccer coach, the one that was on the national team, was doing. Was, he had so ingrained those skills that he actually couldn't really even explain what he was doing. He does it. And yeah, it's classic. And really what you need is somebody who's someone who's been asked the questions so many times that they've thought about what they're doing, and then they realize what they're doing even though they've done it automatically. Or two, if you get someone who's not a beginner but sort of at the intermediate level, they're still kind of aware of what they're doing. It's when you get to the expert level that it becomes so mechanical and so almost like automatic. So yeah, that totally makes sense, and I'm glad you pointed that, because it's a great example for people here, because a lot of people listening to this are probably thinking, I just want to find the trader who made the most money last month, and I'll learn from him. Well, I don't know if that's really gonna. I mean, we'll see how that works. Try it, and then see how that works for you. We'll see how that works for you. I'd love to hear comments from people, under this episode who tried to learn from really, really good traders. And and just let us know how what happened. What was your experience? Maybe it was good, positive, or maybe not. Yeah, great question.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I really appreciate the in-depth answer here. See you next time.
See ya.